Hey guys, I just want to get to gold really quick in the miners, junior miners, senior miners. You can use whatever you want. You can use the hard asset ETF, you can or the hard asset ticker or the GLD ETF. They're pretty similar in price structure and technical analysis. So just looking at the GLD here, it's kind of bearish looking. We can't close up inside the downdraft from Fed day. We're staying below there. These are two very weak bounces. We're still on the bearish side of the MACD. Just looking from a longer term ascending trend line, we do have the higher lows, higher low here, higher low here, higher low here. So it leads me to believe if we're going to just do a straight up channel here, that we definitely could retest. Um, we could definitely retest some of these lower areas. We have a big gap down here, and if we want to kind of figure out where our middle line is, we had our change in direction right in here, so we could draw our second channel somewhere along this line here and see what we can catch on this second channel here. We have to raise it up a little bit. So, you can see that the second channel it might be a little bit too high, but you can see where our second channel is. We have the break here to the high side, and then here's our next channel, and then the failure here as we get to MACD separation and retest the lower channel, and then you have the break above 1, 2, 3 days over, can't hold it, breakdown, retest intraday of that channel, and then you're starting to fail again here. So we're kind of at a critical level here. If there is another channel here, it's hard to decipher where between these two, if any. So you're kind of on, at least from a traditional technical analysis perspective, um, if you ran your line right along the pivotal change in direction here or in here, you're still below that area. This one probably gives you a little bit of a cleaner look of where we changed from the gap um, in this area here. Gap down, gap back up, hit the line, and then you have the gap here. Gap back down, bounce up to the trend line from the prior gap. Then you gap up, and they don't even want to wait for it to get up, and they start to buy it. So bullish action there. So I kind of feel like we're going to go down and retest this 118 area, maybe even a little bit lower on GLD. So don't expect to get a lot of help from the hard asset on your miners. And if I'm going to go with any of the miners, I'm going to go with GDXJ. I'm not going to go with Nugget, or I'm going to go short if we get a bounce. And when I say short on a bounce, it would have to be something more significant than what we're getting here. So here's your GDXJ junior miners. I do like that they are inside the downdraft bar from the Fed day. Not a lot of intensity here with this, considering the drop that we had. At least we're getting a bounce. We're in the hard asset, really not getting anything. Another thing I kind of looked at that was interesting was, you have two directional changes in here. You have the downward trend here, which changes direction right in this area here. And then from this cup, if you look at the MACD and you go straight up, you kind of have a directional change. If this was the drop down gap close right here, any close above there would be a directional change, and it kind of lines up with where the MACD starts to turn up. If you run a line from there and you kind of run it to the breakdown back in April to the top of the other line, it kind of does line up with the height of the day on the Fed announcement. Although we do miss this area in here, it's interesting in my opinion. It runs in between the gap, it hits this one here, and then it hits that one there. So it kind of tells you that, yeah, this is a directional change here where it started to accelerate. We did bounce. That's the line where we failed at, but we are making higher lows. But we also failed on this line once again if you're going to go and get a little creative and look from the longer term directional change there. If we don't look at it from that perspective, we do have the directional change that we were showing from the little cup down in here. I think it was somewhere up in here where I drew my line. And remember, I'm just doing this in real time. I did take out the little outlier days, and I said that I thought that we would kind of bounce along this line in here, and I didn't want to buy the breakout that everybody thought they were seeing and buying, and that was in this area here. I didn't think that was a clean breakout. I thought we could go down and retest this trend line, and look how many times we retested it. We went retested it. This line's not perfectly accurate, but we went down and touched it on the Fed day. We touched it the next day. So at least we're, like I said, inside that candle there. I like to take these 2 and 3 day outlier days out. Open above the trend line 3 days over, couldn't hold it, and then we dropped back down. And then I do think we had another directional change, a pivot within a pivot, and I think it was somewhere up in this area, and that's where we drew our top line channel from. And if I'm not mistaken, it kind of lined up with the top of the green candle on the day prior to the Fed announcement, which looked like at least a cleaner break. We got just above it. This might be a little bit high because I think we were right on it. I think we closed literally right on it. So the next day, I don't like to hold into Fed announcements. So if you did buy the trend line here and people were texting me, I was saying just to get out before that. So the one bullish aspect, I guess, would be that we are making higher lows, but we need to get a big day tomorrow, or at least within a few days here. We seem to be trending to the bottom end of this channel. If you came in with a JNUG and you're coming in heavy, I would sell any green candle and then hold the rest. You don't want to close below like a 32.20 on the GDXJ. I use that for my JNUG price points, but we're definitely having a hard time pulling off this bounce here. That was definitely a significant move down. At least you are on the bullish side of the MACD on your junior miners. Not so much for your JNUG. I would avoid the senior miners here. And then just to finish up, here's your Bollinger Band. Not super accurate, but gives you an idea of directional changes here. No doubt this one looks pretty good. It kind of waffled along the line here. Definitely held above it in the failure. If you had, if you'd been in GDXJ or JNUG for that matter, and you had this big failure with a bearish crossover on the MACD, you would have been out or short the miners. You bounced along the lower Bollinger Band. Nice little candle here, bullish. Got back above it. Another close with a long tail, pretty bullish. Kind of hung around below it, and I guess they were starting to buy coming into the Fed announcement. Touched the top Bollinger Band, and then we did open below it. Like I said, I don't know how accurate these numbers are. Maybe we need to do a 22, but at least we're above it right now. That's something just slightly positive. But like I said, no conviction here. I'm pretty neutral. Nothing jumps out at me from a trade perspective. We get a move to the upside, I'll probably short it with a JDSD trade. And maybe if you do get back to the lower Bollinger Band, it might be worth a speculative buy to go long. But I'd be a little bit careful here with the miners. Nothing, there's no conviction here.